What's going on, guys? I'm Tyler, and this is usually the part where I say that Tenet is no perfect movie, but I keep struggling to come up with a concrete review of the movie itself as I'm sitting here on my couch. I'm struggling to come up with a concrete video for the exact one that you're watching right now. I have absolutely no idea why, but I'm speculating that it has to do with how conflicting my feelings are towards Christopher Nolan as a filmmaker, which wasn't always the case. But like most people, I discovered criticism of Christopher Nolan by watching Nostalgia Critic compare the Tim Burton Batman with the Dark Knight. Now, don't get me wrong here. I'm judging Doug Walker's thoughts and feelings towards movies, not him ethically as a person. My thoughts on Doug Walker as a person are basically the exact same as yours at the time being. But when he pointed out that the biggest flaw of a Nolan film in general is that he tends to focus more on the spectacle, not just how practical everything is, but just the spectacle of characters talking. He pointed out how characters don't talk, they give speeches, they analyze the movie as opposed to letting us, the audience, analyze it for ourselves. As he pointed out, the characters talk more like movie critics than actual characters, especially when Joker says it's not about money, it's about spreading a cause. That's what critics are supposed to say. That's what they're supposed to discover and report to casual audiences to get us more excited about movies. Now, don't get me wrong, I like The Dark Knight, but it really is a glaring issue with all of his movies. And when Walker complained about that exact same thing with Interstellar and seemed more upset, almost like Nolan not only had not learned his lesson, but just had dialed up the speeches and the spectacle of it all. He just seems so passionately heated that I decided to stay away from Interstellar, and I haven't seen it since. He could be wrong about it. I could enjoy it for all I know, but the thoughts and feelings people had towards it just steered me clear of it. But then when I saw Dunkirk and I saw proof that Christopher Nolan can direct a movie visually, I got excited for Tenet once that it was announced. An event movie designed to get people to remember what the theater going experience was like, to remember how great it was, as opposed to just watching a movie on your phone. And keep in mind, this was years before we had a pandemic, so he already thought there was a problem there. And then when the trailer came out, I only got more excited once I found out what inversion was. The whole concept of time moving forwards and backwards. Fuck whatever the plot or the characters are going to be. I want like practical stunts and sets, practical fight sequences where people move forwards and backwards at the same time. That would be so awesome. But then when the Tenet reviews came out, both good and bad, that it was style over substance and that you couldn't escape the fact that there wasn't much of an emotional connection because there were only one or two characters that really had a three-act structure, let alone had a backstory. So I got a little nervous. And like most people that have seen the Royal Ocean Film Society, which I have, big fan, I couldn't help but notice the Confessions of a Nolan Fanboy title, and I'm just like, okay, let's see what you got here. Let's see how similar your thoughts are to the critic. And his thoughts are similar, but he brought up something even bigger. This whole idea that Nolan has gotten so obsessed about promoting spectacle over character. Something that, again, I hadn't really noticed before, especially with The Dark Knight Rises, how huge it was in terms of scope. I already knew it was huge in plot holes and unnecessary side characters, and I agreed with him on that. But it got me really concerned that Nolan is so concerned about the spectacle being more important than the characters. And not gonna lie, I had that feeling when I saw the movie the first time around, because I've seen it twice already. I took my sister to see it once because she was excited about it too, and we thought it was fine. Like, most of the actors did a really good job. Most of Nolan's direction was exactly what we wanted it to be in a good way, and some of the inversion sequences were fun, but there were some technical problems that really took us out of the enjoyment, especially when it came to not necessarily trying to understand the plot, because let's face it, like the first time around, we weren't going to understand it. And as they kept pointing out, don't try to understand it, feel it. We had a hard time feeling it too, for a couple reasons. One is one that we both shared, where everyone's been saying this since Interstellar, and it's absolutely true. The music and sound effects in the film are dialed up to 12, and yet the dialogue is about at a 5, 5.5 at best. So no matter how focused you are in trying to understand what each exposition character is trying to say, It doesn't matter because we can't fucking hear them, even though we're in a movie theater with huge surround sound. So I defy Nolan fanboys who accuse people that don't like his movies of being idiots to give me an explanation as to why, when you're trying to make a movie that is designed to get people back into theaters, that you come up with a cinematic technique that is so stupid and kind of insulting and manipulative to your audience that all you're going to do is give them a massive headache, make them even more confused than they were already going to be, and then just say, you know what, I'll see this again on VOD or pirate it. Seriously, give me a valid reason as to why that was a good decision to begin with. Something that my sister pointed out that I didn't even notice was that, was there even a scene in the movie that didn't have music? I can think of like 2 scenes in the entire 2.5 hours, and they don't even last very long. And you can't even tell that there isn't any music because the sound effects, again, are so blaringly loud. It's such a fucking stupid idea, and I can't understand what makes it a good idea. If you're trying to get people to focus more, it's not going to matter because, again, one noise or multiple noises overshadows the one that you're supposed to be paying attention to. Plus, this is a problem I've always had with Nolan movies personally when it comes to directing action sequences and fight choreography. Now, don't get me wrong. The stunts in Tenet are for the most part very good. They are very practical. The airplane sequence, the bungee jump, the opera house are all very well designed and for the most part well shot. It comes down to fight choreography between 2 characters where Nolan, for whatever reason, seems to enjoy having this handheld feature to almost make it feel like you're watching it in the moment or you're capturing it during the moment. Which I don't understand, because during the inverted fight sequences, all the backflips and backwards movements, you see it in full and they're really cool. But when characters are actually punching and kicking each other, you don't see the punches and kicks. The most we get are close-up shots of the characters, like, giving reaction shots as they're punching and fighting, which, okay, that part's great, but that's only half the shot. The other half is the fucking punches and kicks, the choreography. The other very weird shot that he chooses are over-the-shoulder shots when characters are punching and kicking each other. Which I don't understand, because again, you can't see the punches or kicks. You can't even see the person who is getting punched and kicked react, which is important. There are so many important aspects to fight sequences that Nolan just does not incorporate into his movies. If I'm being honest, Birds of Prey was a more entertaining movie than Tenet as I'm recording this movie because you see the choreography, the reactions, the location, the fact that they come up with so many different objects to use in this location as if it were completely improvised. There's no sense of improvisation with the fight sequences. It's so glaringly confusing, and I have absolutely no idea why people give it a free pass. Yes, it's practical, but that's not important. What is important is what you use with the practical stuff that you have, and I don't think he uses it to his fullest potential. It's just... I am gonna get an ass whooping from so many online trolls, but you know what? They can go fuck themselves. They get off on insulting people's intelligence, whether or not they think they're right about it, or whether they're just trying to get a chuckle out of it. So bottom line, I am going to have an actual review of Tenet up very soon, and I promise you I have more good things to say about it than negative. Most of the negative stuff I'm going to keep to a minimum because the majority of it comes from everything that I've just said in this exact video. I'm so sick of people glorifying certain directors as the absolute best without ever acknowledging the flaws that they have. Because every filmmaker has flaws. Every film has flaws. I mean, for fuck's sakes, my catchphrase is, there is no perfect movie. Because there isn't. That's just me trying to be as perfectly calm, collected, and level-headed about a certain movie as I can possibly get. I don't say these are the best directors of all time. I say these are my favorite filmmakers because that's just the way it is. And to be honest, Christopher Nolan is not one of my favorite directors. If anything, I find him an overrated director. In fact, I find a lot of overrated directors, such as Martin Scorsese. One of these days, you'll probably end up seeing me ranting upon him. But until then, Stop being a douchebag about certain things. When a person admits that a movie has flaws, do not attack them for insulting their intelligence. It's just not going to be worth it. And again, it's not going to change your life. However miserable you're going to be about something, taking it out on somebody else just because they hate something that you like is going to be completely worthless. I got nothing else to say about this video, so guys, thanks as always for watching. If you agree or disagree, be sure to let me know in the comments below. I don't even have to tell you that anyways. Be sure to stay tuned for more future reviews. Be sure to stay tuned for a Tenet review in the future. One of these days I'm going to have it up. And be sure to like and subscribe. Take care.